I wanted to just share with you a little bit about hope and why we're doing this. Is that okay, really quick? I won't be preaching or anything later because that's not what we're here for, but I wanted to just share a little bit. This is something I've been reading in my own life and just have been inspired by. And so I just wanted to share it with you guys. So hope, which is the whole reason we're here. I wanted to start by reading this verse to you, and I just love how the Passion Translation reads it. And you guys can throw that up on the screen here. Here we go. So in the same way, God wanted to end all doubt and confirm it even more forcefully to those who would inherit his promises. His purpose was unchangeable, so God added his vow to the promise. So it is impossible for God to lie, for we know that his promise and his vow will never change. And now we have run into his heart to hide ourselves in his faithfulness. This is where we find his strength and comfort, for he empowers us to seize what has already been established ahead of time. An unshakable hope. We have this certain hope like a strong, unbreakable anchor holding our souls to God himself. Our anchor of hope is fastened to the mercy seat, which sits in the heavenly realm beyond the sacred threshold. And I think there's just a little bit more if I remember right. Okay, and where Jesus, our forerunner, has gone in before us, he is now and forever our royal priesthood, like Melchizedek, which is just beautiful. Here's the part I would love for you guys to just really hone in on. We have this certain hope with a strong, unbreakable anchor holding. This is our promise, and this is something he said he wanted to make certain we knew about. And I love that. There's various reasons why we're all here this morning. So some of us could use this information and content because there's stuff going on in our life. For some of us, we have a loved one, maybe, that is in our life that we want to just support with these tools and this knowledge and resource. Maybe some of you are just intrigued by the topic of mental and emotional health and you want to learn more. Or you're a part of our women's community and you just come to everything and you found yourself here today and you're not really sure why you're here. I respect every one of these options and I love that you're here. And so, but the truth is no matter why you're here, you have Jesus in your heart. If you have Jesus in your heart, you have this unshakable, unstoppable hope that is anchoring you. And I love that. It's our anchor and it holds, which is the whole point of an anchor. I love the holding part because why? Because no matter what we face, no matter what, challenge or chaos or whatever it may be that comes into our life, we have this hope that holds us. And I loved what it said. It fastens us to Jesus. It fastens us to his heart. And we run into his heart for strength. And I just love that. And anybody that has gone through it and has had to hold on to that anchor of Jesus, you know the feeling. Sometimes it is easy for people to grab hold of that anchor. Sometimes it's not. That's just the reality. Sometimes it's a little bit hard because we get caught up in the situation we're in. And sometimes it's so overwhelming that it's hard for our brains to even process through it and grab hold of that anchor. And so that's why we're here today. We want to help you process through that. We want to help give you some very useful tools, some knowledge that will help kind of bring some understanding to those moments when we're like, okay, I've got something crazy going on. I know Jesus is my hope, but I am having a hard time connecting these two dots right now. That's okay. Everybody does that. It's understandable. And so we, as the church, wanted to make sure that we could be a helpful resource to you in this certain situation. And again, maybe that's something you're walking through, or it's something a loved one is. And maybe you're like, okay, this person's really going through it and I don't even know where to begin to support them. We want to help you. And maybe this is for something for your future. I don't know. We don't always have all the answers is what I'm getting at. And that can be frustrating sometimes, but it is the truth. And so we wanted to make sure that we can just equip you with resources and tools and information today that can kind of help to connect those dots of just holding right on to that anchor, no matter what life brings us. So on that note, I'm going to turn it over to our team. We have Beacon Therapy and a couple of other associated practices, but these ladies that are coming up are licensed counselors and therapists that are far better equipped to speak to this topic than me. So I know when it's time for me to just sit down, and that is going to be today. And so these ladies are going to be coming up and teaching a little bit on the topic of family dynamics and relational systems. This is something we are all a part of. If you're here, you are a part of a family in one way or another. And so this is going to hopefully be really helpful to you. Another thing I had in mind was the holidays. And for some of us, absolutely nothing goes wrong during holiday time. I love the laughs because that speaks to maybe why we're here today. So for others, sometimes holiday season is like, okay, I'm going to have to talk with so-and-so in my family or friends or whatever your dynamics are in your holiday season. Or maybe for you, it's a quiet holiday season. I don't know. Everybody has their experience. And so we thought, okay, what a perfect topic to equip you with, right, as you go into various conversations and relational dynamics in the holiday season. And so I hope that you guys would just come with your heart open and your ears open to learn. I think it's going to be just like a really good topic to start with. So Shelly, should I hand this off to you to start? Thank you. Can you guys just welcome our facilitator team and presenting team today?
Good morning. Okay, let's try that one more time. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Well, we didn't have praise and worship this morning, so we have to pull that energy in. Okay.
Yeah.
So today I am going to, we skipped over one real quick. So it's my first time handling the clicker, so bear with me. So I'm Shelly, and I own Beacon Therapy and see a lot of people that are in families and relational systems. That is my training background as a licensed marriage and family therapist. So we did think that today would be a great opportunity with the holidays to talk about families and relational systems. So it's a little bit of a paradigm shift. We're going to have you guys think about families in the way of systems. So we are all part of a system, whether we're single or we are married or we have multiple children. We're all part of multiple systems: work, home, extended family, neighborhoods, coworkers. So today okay. Did we automate that page too? There we go. So we're old school. We're not tech savvy. So today we're going to talk about what is a relational system and what makes it healthy and unhealthy. The benefits of being raised in a healthy system. How to make a relational system healthier, and then we will break into small groups, and in those small groups you guys are welcome to ask any questions that you might have or get clarification of things. Please don't play stump the therapist, but we will try our best to answer your questions. And if it is a question that maybe involves a little bit more in-depth conversation, we will let you know. We'll welcome to talk to you after the group. Today's group, we have plenty of time. We have almost an hour. Yeah. Is that correct? Yeah. So that's a little bit different than our last groups. We probably didn't have enough time. So today I think we'll have enough time. Okay. So a relationship. Let's think about it in this way. A relationship includes two people. We often try to bring in multiple people in a relationship, but the basic form of relationship is two people. And you're in the front row, so I'm going to use you. What's your first name? Rebecca. So me and Rebecca have a relationship. And Rebecca and Bria have a relationship. So me and Bria have a relationship, and me and Becca have a relationship. So we're not all three, and then the next layer of this would be we have a friendship So that's another layer of the system. Okay, so when we have two or more people or roles, they become a relational system. It becomes more complex and it grows. So we can see this sometimes in step families. When we have a stepmother, she's also a new wife. We also have the biological mother. It can cause the family to be more complex. So systems such as families and friends and roommates can be complex and healthy, unhealthy, and chaotic. No relationship system is perfect. I'm going to repeat that. No relationship is perfect. No family is perfect, despite what Instagram and Facebook show you. Right? Yeah. So, in a healthy system, these are some characteristics of a healthy system. All members feel safe, heard, loved, and supported. Now, there's going to be days when we don't all live up to that, but for the majority, this is the basis of a healthy system. It has the ability to address and overcome challenges in a constructive, authentic, and supportive manner. It varies between cultures and individuals, but some core principles such as love, respect, and commitment and emotional support remain consistent. Now, that is something, as in therapy, we have to remember. Certain cultures may have different ideas of what respect is. Certain generations might have ideas of what respect looks like, and that's different. So we have to remember that we have to allow people to live their values and their culture, not our values and cultures, on that relationship. I'm trying to click with my microphone. That's not working. Okay. So briefly, the characteristics of a healthy relationship were healthy values, love, respect, and trust, emotional support, validation, boundaries, effective communication, and community rituals and traditions. Let's look at these a little closer. Healthy values, ethical, moral, faith values are upheld. It operates in a strong ethical foundation, promoting commitment, fairness, justice, and well-being in all stakeholders. Sounds complicated. Yeah. Let's see if I can read it without having to turn around here. Might be easier to go from this direction. So if you're thinking about in a work setting, how many people have problems with coworkers and relationships at work? Okay, maybe a couple. Okay. Don't raise your hand. We'll be talking to that problem employee later. Yeah. So, one of our problems is, I think, is sometimes we blend families together, and they come from different values, maybe different ethnic backgrounds, but different morals, and sometimes in workplaces we have different values and morals, and so it's about looking at that in a curious way, I guess is the best way to describe it, because most, if not all, conflicts that we have within either a work setting or a family or friendship group, it boils down to a values conflict. Let's just take a couple. The wife spends too much on a purse. Ashley. I know, he does have a lot of shoes. But you have a lot of purses too. Okay. So sometimes our value, maybe the wife values her purses more than he values money more than purses. So there might be a conflict there. I'm just using you as an example. Sometimes that values are different at work because we feel like maybe we're not being heard. We're working hard and we're not being recognized for that. And the supervisor may feel more value in getting his bottom line done, not necessarily the work. So that's where some values can come in. Love and respect and trust demonstrated in everyday actions. Promises are kept. Opinions, decisions, and personal boundaries are respected. This one's a big one. I think it's also a very big one for kids because we, as children, need to see our parents and our grandparents demonstrating everyday actions that demonstrate our morals, our values, our love and respect. How many people have been rude to somebody at a store while you had your kids with you? Yep. Our kids are watching us every day, all the time. Right. And they see how we treat people. They see how we handle ourselves when we get frustrated. They see how we work through being sick and getting up and still going to work. Mm-hmm. So remember that we are continual models of our values and living in a loving, healthy, respectful way. Emotional support. Members are there for each other during times of achievement, joy, sorrow, by non-judgmental companionship, and the validation of feelings. Yeah, this one doesn't really work for everybody all the time. How many times have you told your husband, I just don't feel like you validate my feelings? Yeah, that's a therapy word, but sometimes we don't take the time to listen to those people that are closest to us and validate how they're feeling. Sometimes the people around us don't really know what they're feeling, and we don't ask the right questions to get to those feelings. So we have a tendency to spend a little bit more time with the people that we work with or people that aren't in our families. So we need to spend more time with hearing and supporting the people around us. Boundaries, I think we covered boundaries in, was it our last talk? Yeah. Okay, so we understand that. Effective communication. This involves also effective listening to each other and listening for those emotional things that maybe we're not talking about, but also talking about using words that are respectful and supporting and the tone that we use. How many times have you ever heard somebody say, quit yelling at me? I'm not yelling, I'm just speaking firmly. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people are a little bit more sensitive to the tones that we use than what we realize. Mm-hmm. And so making sure that you're in a respectful tone, not a sarcastic or a shaming, judgmental tone. And then community and rituals and traditions. We saw what happens when we don't have this during COVID. We as parts of community and families, we need community. Mm-hmm. We need our church community. Mm-hmm. We need to do things like go to a craft fair with our girlfriends or go shopping or get together to watch a football game. Those are things we're built to be together, and we need to be able to be that. Characteristics of an unhealthy relationship system. Is that you? All right. purse lady. See the new purse?
Yeah.
My briefcase.
It's your brief.
Love it. It should be on.
Okay.
There
Yep.
we go.
So, hi, I'm Ashley. I am a licensed alcohol and drug counselor, and I am on track to getting my marriage and family therapy license, which will be in a couple years. You have to have so many hours. They want you prepared, which is good. So, I'm going to be talking about characteristics of an unhealthy relational system. So, the first one is poor communication. With the poor communication also includes listening, so that's a big part of the communication process. Poor boundaries, which was stated in the last slide for the unhealthy boundaries, or the boundaries we talked about even in the last group we had. Uses manipulation and control, emotional and physical abuse, neglect physically or emotionally, perfectionism and high expectations, dysfunctional roles, secrets and deception, addiction and substance abuse, blame and scapegoating, lack of emotional support, cultural or social isolation, unresolved conflicts, and gaslighting. If you don't know what gaslighting is, I have to actually look it up myself. It's when people are like, oh, there's nothing wrong, you're just crazy, and kind of dismissive of what you're feeling. So, all right. Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jan. I'm also part of the Bacon Group. I'm an LMFT, or licensed marriage and family therapist. I get to speak today about a healthy system, so I get the positive stuff. That's good. Impacts of a healthy system. Healthy family dynamics have a profound impact on the individual well-being and their ability to engage in healthy relational systems and parenting. So, yeah, what we do, as Shelley had spoken to, what we do within our family, how we treat each other, how we communicate, all matters, right? And it keeps us all healthy. And that's a healthy family system. And just like it says there in 1 Thessalonians, so encourage each other and build each other up, just as you are already doing. So keep doing that, and we'll all be better for it. Okay, healthy. Now I'm going to just cover some of the topics as part of a healthy system. So the first thing is social skills. In healthy families, individuals learn effective communication, empathy, conflict resolution, and cooperation. And these skills are valuable for forming and maintaining relationships outside the family. So Shelley had spoke a little bit to our work families, our church families, and other community groups. Social skills, very valuable in keeping things healthy, keeping us all, and also sharing that empathy, taking care of each other, right? And helping with conflict resolution. The next thing is emotional health. Healthy system dynamics are emotionally nurturing, or they create an emotionally nurturing environment. Again, taking care of each other. How are we taking care of our families, whether it's our family of origin, our church family, our work family? How are we taking care of each other? Individuals from such families are better equipped to manage stress, anxiety, and depression. Just keeps us all more healthy. Yeah. Self-esteem and self-confidence. When individuals receive validation and positive reinforcement within their family, they tend to develop healthier self-image and greater self-assurance. Shelley spoke about validation, validating each other's feelings, letting each other know, yeah, we get you. We get where you're coming from. We may not agree. Validating that you understand each other. If someone brings up a topic and you don't comment, you don't say anything about it, they're not sure. Did you understand? You know, did you even hear? Do you feel heard? So validation is very important, and sometimes that's something that we forget to do. Positive reinforcement within your family. Boost each other up. Again, you'll all be better for it. Sense of belonging. We all crave this, right? Healthy relational systems provide that sense of belonging, which contributes to individuals' overall happiness and mental health. We all want to belong. Resilience. When individuals grow up in a supporting and nurturing family environment, they're more likely to develop resilience in the ability to overcome setbacks. Again, yes, we all want to belong, but we all need to be strong. And building up that resilience helps us with that. And problem-solving skills. Healthy families encourage problem-solving and critical thinking. Individuals learn to assess situations, make informed decisions, take responsibility for their actions. Something we all need to teach. Teach the next generation. Teach our children those good problem-solving skills. In physical health, a harmonious family environment may encourage healthy habits, regular exercise, balanced nutrition, adequate sleep. And when we're in that healthy family relationship, healthy family dynamic, physically it affects us. You know, we just feel better, and it helps our physical health. Value system. Shelley had also spoke a little bit about values. Relational systems often impart a set of values and morals. In healthy systems, these values tend to promote positive behaviors and ethics, which can contribute to individuals' well-being and sense of purpose. We want to teach our children our values. Very important to that healthy system. Educational achievement. When children feel supported and encouraged, they tend to perform better academically. And a healthy system will help reduce risky behaviors by providing support and guidance offered in the healthy family. We can discourage individuals from engaging in self-destructive activities. Again, when we feel supported, we're more likely to go to our family members for that support and encouragement, and engage in healthy behaviors, less risky. Life satisfaction. Individuals who grow up in healthy family dynamics, tend to have a positive outlook on life. They tend to have better mental health, and achieve a higher overall quality of life than those that don't. Again, healthy family dynamics, keeping the values and some of the topics that we're going to be talking about more in our groups will lead to better life satisfaction. Longevity of relationships. Healthy family dynamics often serve as a model for future relationships, future generations. Individuals from such families tend to form healthier, more stable, and longer lasting relationships. Just like Shelley said, our kids are watching us. They're observing, and when you're teaching them those healthy family dynamics, whether it's your children or, again, part of your church family, just the next generation, the younger kids coming up, when they're learning those healthy dynamics, they also tend to have better relationships. So the more we can teach them, the better off everyone will be. Okay, so that's all I've got. I'm going to hand it off now to Amy.
Hi, my name is Amy Bianchi-Rossi. I am also a therapist at Beacon. I am trained a little bit differently. Shelley And Jan and Ashley are all LMFTs, marriage and family therapists. I was trained in an LPCC, so that's a licensed professional clinical counselor, and that is trained more on the individual track with training in systems, but we are trained a little bit more on the one-on-one. So kind of coming at it from that perspective, but still trained to look at systems in addition to the individual. So I'm going to talk about improving the unhealthy system, which I think is why everybody's here, right? Is that everybody's here to learn a little bit about their system, their role in the system, what unhealthy looks like, and what can we do? Like, what are the action steps? And so I think one of the really important aspects of improving an unhealthy system, first is knowing what is going on with your system. And there's a ton of education that's involved with this. Learning what an unhealthy system looks like, learning what other people are doing in your system that creates an unhealthy system, but also learning what I am doing in my system that creates an unhealthy system. So we're in a ditch on either side if we are looking at other people as the problem only, or if we are looking at ourselves as the problem only. Both of those things are ditches in terms of looking at the system that we're in, whether it's our family or our friends or our work system, and identifying the problem. It's never all you, and it's never all them. And so being able to identify what those things are that are going on in the system is hugely important. And getting resources, it can be good podcasts, good books, a therapist to help you to understand and conceptualize what a healthy system looks like so that you can start to identify which aspects of those healthy or unhealthy systems are showing up for you in your life. So making a relational system healthier, first, obviously prayer, right? We pray for awareness. Help me to see what is going on. Help me to be able to handle and understand what's going on, whether it's the other people in the system or whether it's me. Give me the humility to identify if it's me, but also give me the courage to identify if it's something else that's going on there too. So that would be identifying the dysfunction. This is one of the things too I see a lot in my practice is that when people come in and they identify that something's going on in their system, that a lot of people will double down and try to figure out all of the strategies to get the other people to do it differently. And usually we have to run through all those strategies before we figure out we can't control other people, right? And so that's a patience thing, and we love them, and we go through all of that type of thing until we get to the part where it's like, I can't change this person, and now I have a really difficult decision to make. That's not always the case, but sometimes it's the case. The other part of it is doing all of that changing or trying to change everybody else in the system until you run up against the last person in the system, which is yourself, and start to look in the mirror and see how you have contributed to that system that have made things unhealthy and what do you need to do to change that. So taking responsibility as needed, hugely important. Goals for improvement. Self-care is so huge. We hear self-care, that's such a buzz phrase right now. It's really important. It doesn't mean massages and nails. It could, but it means asking yourself, what do you need? Not deferring to other people who tell you what you need or what you don't need. Is really being able to check in. We're all given the still small voice, and there's a reason why we have it, and learning how to trust that and do what it is we need, whether it is to rest or to act or whatever that might be. It's learning how to trust that and having the courage to do that is what self-care is. And yes, it could go all the way to massages and nails, that's fine, but that's not the basis of what self-care is. Boundaries we talked about in our last presentation, and there's lots of great resources for that. Apologizing, that's that ownership piece. If you notice you're apologizing all the time, then maybe you should look at that. Communication skills is an entire topic in and of itself, which is wonderful to look at, but almost always that is an aspect of an unhealthy system. So making sure that you're looking at that. Empathy. Are you over empathetic? You're condoning and being too accepting of behaviors, or are you under empathetic? Again, that's looking at what your role is and what are the other people in the system doing. Forgive and let go. That is obviously what we want to do, but be careful if what you're doing is forgiving and letting go of abusive or unhealthy relationship patterns. And learning that is a really important thing. So that's another aspect of the education that could happen in a counseling office, or it could happen with girlfriends and really good resources, pastoral counseling, that type of thing. Conflict resolution, so knowing where you are with that. Are you more on the aggressive side, big energy, or are you more on the passive side, not enough energy? Again, know thyself and know what's going on in your system. Building trust and respect, it was covered. 5 love languages, everybody knows that one. That's a good resource. And then obviously seek professional help if you're running up against a wall, finding a good counselor for you to start processing some of this stuff. Shelley, everybody had acknowledged no relational system is perfect and none is ever going to be. So recognizing that, but they can be healthy or unhealthy, and making sure that you know, is the system I'm in healthy or unhealthy, and what is my role in that, and how much control do I have to fix that role or to fix that system? If I have done everything I know to do, then what? Rupture and repair is a really important topic for relational dynamics. If you're in the unhealthy relationship group, we're going to be touching on that quite a bit. Chaos and abuse is not healthy. Learn what abuse is. Emotional abuse is wily and it's very, very subtle. So learning what emotional abuse is and identifying whether or not you are in a system that is emotionally abusive. Again, whether that's you that is doing the abusing or it's somebody else in the system that is being abusive, that education is really, really important. I want to give a little example. My supervisor, way long time ago, when I was doing my licensure hours, like Ashley's doing right now, my supervisor happened to be an LMFT. And so he was wonderful in helping me to understand systems and really making me think systemically. And he gave me this analogy that I use to this day. And he talks about every single system that we are involved in, whether it be a family or coworkers or friendships or churches or whatever that is. Imagine that as existing like on a life raft, right? So a raft that's floating down a river. And no matter if the system is unhealthy or healthy, if the system is together, it's floating on that life raft, okay? So imagine everybody in that system has a spot on that life raft. And if the life raft is floating and not going over, that means that everybody in that role or in their roles are contributing to that system staying afloat. So as you learn about your role or other people's role in a system, and as you identify that, wow, this system is unhealthy, what is my role in this? Do I need to set more boundaries, or am I too aggressive? Do I need to get more, more listening and more empathetic? Whatever that is, as you discover and make action steps about your role in that system, so your place on that life raft, you start shifting on that life raft, and you start shifting a little bit more and a little bit more toward a healthy role in that system. And if you can imagine, if everybody had a role and everybody had a spot on that life raft that kept it floating, if one person is shifting, that life raft is going to start to tip. It's going to feel really uncomfortable, and it's going to force everybody else on that life raft to act. And one of two things happens. Either everybody else on that life raft are going to force you back into your old role, or they're going to self-reflect and take ownership of their role and shift on the life raft, and it becomes healthy. If not, that life raft goes over, right? The system changes, and that could be simply that one person leaves the system. It doesn't mean the whole thing explodes. It just means the system changes. And so think about that. You can't change the whole system, but you have a lot of impact on how that system stays afloat or not afloat by how you take ownership of your role in the system. So if you are in the aggressor or more abusive parts, if you take a healthier tack, that is going to shift everybody else on the system. If you are the one that is receiving more of that abusive behavior and you start engaging boundaries and that kind of thing, that is going to shift people on the system. So I thought that was a really helpful thing that empowers us to help ourselves be a better participant in a system, whether it's a family or any other group of people that you're in. But it reminds us that I don't have any control over the other people on that life raft. right? So, I think that's it. I think that's kind of, I think I'm the ending point. I'll bring Angela back up. Thank you.
Can I ask one quick question, actually, Amy?
Uh-huh.
I'm throwing, yes, thank you so much to our presenter team. That was so good. So one question, and I know you're good at questions on the fly, so thank you for letting me just lean into that. You mentioned the importance of, like, know thyself was the term you used.
Yes.
And also that self-care being like asking yourself some questions to help you identify what is important to you. Also questions like, what is my role on the raft and such. So for anybody that's listening that maybe is not good at that
Right.
self-talk or that ability to ask themselves some questions, what are some good questions to ask yourself to help identify these things?
Yep.
You know?
So these are some of my favorite prayer questions. So when I'm quiet in prayer and I don't know what I don't know, right? What do I ask? Well, I know there's something to ask, right? We serve a God who sees all the things, right? God knows all the things. He's seen what you've been doing or what other people have been doing the entire time. I haven't. And that usually is because of the way that I was brought up. That's usually because of the systems I was brought up in and what I'm used to seeing. And then I'm not trained to see more broadly. So the questions you start to ask are, God, show me what I can't see. And then be quiet. I think we do too much of this when we're praying sometimes. I do anyway. Maybe I shouldn't blame everybody else, but I do anyway. And to be quiet and to listen. Because if we serve a God who truly wants us to be able to be the fully perfect version of who we are, then when we ask, we do receive. Those are promises that are stated over and over in the Word. And so starting there, some of my favorite questions to ask myself were, there's something going on here and I just don't know what it is. Help me. And then trust. And when things get brought to you, listen and learn and don't victimize yourself. Oh, it's just so terrible, I can never get out. No, yes, you can. And God will bring things for you to do or to read or to talk to somebody or to go through a therapist or to listen to a podcast. Learn, act. Identify what aspects of what is being brought to you is part of the system you're in or your role in that system that you're in. And just trust that, I guess, is my big thing, right? We were brought on this earth with like this beautiful truth finder. And but I think we defer too much to voices out here telling us what truth is rather than listening and actually acting on that. So that would be number one.
Thank you. That's really good. Thank you, Amy. That was my one question. I was just like, oh gosh, where do we begin? Thank you. Thank you. Ladies, I hope that was so good for me. I could read through the slides and just be like, okay, there's certain things that got highlighted to me and such. So thank you guys so much.